Hi guys, Tom here from the Miniature War Room. Got a new airbrush today, so I just thought I'd do a wee preview on it and show you guys it. It's the Badger Renegade series airbrush company. This is my first real airbrush. I've only, used cheap Chinese crap, which kind of, doesn't last as long as good quality airbrushes. Anyway, this is a side feed airbrush. This is the Renegade Spirit, which is a side feed airbrush. But the first side feed airbrush I've used, as the original was my first one was a top gravity. I think that this one's a bit better because where you position the cup, you can have it either on the right hand side or the left hand side, and it will not obstruct your view when you're actually using the airbrush. So it's got a wee plug at the side here. You can pop the plug out. You can take your cup off. You can pop it on the side. The cup actually being detachable as well helps when you're actually cleaning the airbrush. Aye, so that's pretty much that. First impression is cheap bit of plastic cap. I don't rate that. The Chinese cheap thing that I had for £20 had a better quality cap on it, so that's my first impression on that. That's quite disappointing. Next impressions. This is actually okay. You're going to have to be very careful with the type of guard that's on here because it's a fine guard. It'll only protect it if you actually drop it straight down on the ground. You need to watch nothing goes in there because that could bend the needle inside the airbrush. It also comes with this big bottle here, so I guess that'd be pretty good if you're gonna do some terrain or bits and bobs like that. If you're needing to use a bit more. Also, you could, if you're gonna do a complete overhaul on your airbrush, I suppose you could fill this up with your cleaning solution. A lot of guys just use Windex and things like that. I use bum. Well, at the moment I don't have any. I don't know what I've done with it, but I was just using airbrush thinner just to clean it out just now. I've got an order in for some stuff, but it's not here yet. Anyway, yes, this is the Spirit. So first impressions, actually a bit disappointing. I expected a wee bit more, but again, it's not the most expensive airbrush. I think I paid £120 for this one. You can feel the quality in the actual button, so it's a double action, and you can feel the quality there. Again, if I picked it up without having a cheap Chinese thing in my hand first, I probably wouldn't say, "Oh, aye, that's amazing." Anyway, it's a lot better than what I was used to. One thing I would say about this particular model is I would have probably went for the chrome one now, with a bit of hindsight, just because the body of this one's looking kind of tarnished. One thing I would say, see the actual machining on the body of the airbrush. I don't know if you can see in there. I don't know if the camera quality is going to be good enough for that. Anyway, the housing that's been machined out, just where the trigger sits, is actually quite rough. It's not rounded. It doesn't look as if it's been filed. I'm a bit disappointed with that, to be honest. The action of the airbrush is lovely. Don't get me wrong, the airbrush does a really good job. Really fine needle. Badger transports all their products with the needle backwards. So if you do buy one, you will have to slacken the tightening nut and push the needle into place. This protects it during transit, and also when I'm finished with it and I've gave it a clean, then I'll pop it back in, and that means that the needle can't get damaged or bent. But again, you do have to be careful. This particular model does come with the trigger stop, so if you tighten that right up, you can't pull the trigger back. But when we loosen it off, you can see it's going further back as I loosen it. and this is going to reduce flow rate if you're doing precision work. Right, okay, so that's pretty much the airbrush. Next, I would say the next thing was the size of the fitment. You need to watch this because I actually have a generic compressor, which is, you know, it's quite common. Most guys actually have one of these, and you need to watch the fitment size. I actually had to buy an adapter. I got it off eBay. I think I paid £1.50 for it, which isn't a lot. It's just a badger to a 15. I believe it's a 15 mil connection. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on it. And that just screws on there, and then that allows you to make the connection between your badger airbrush and your air hose. Alternatively, I suppose you could buy the badger air hose, which goes from this size of fitting to this size of fitting, where the reducer is actually part of the hose. But you know, I'm not too bothered. I don't want to buy a new hose. When I do need to replace my hose, I'll probably end up buying one that size. You've got a wee instructions manual in the bottom of the box there. Again, it doesn't look like a good quality printout. But at the end of the day, you're paying the money for the, you know, you're paying the money for the good quality airbrush. You're not paying the money for the casing and things. That's all just an extra, compared to, like, say, Japanese things, and even your entry level Iwatas and all that. You know, they're pretty similar. I would rather the extra money was spent on my brush than the case. The box is quite nice, I will say, and it does offer good storage for your airbrush. What else do we get with this? Also, I think this is an additional tip. So this is an additional tip which you can take the place of this tip here. And that's pretty much it, really. That's the first time I've had this off, but actually maybe it's not. I don't actually know what that is, to be honest. I'll need to look into that. Good thing about this as well, the Badger spares are cheap as chips. That was why I chose the Badger, as well as some really good reviews. One channel that does really good reviews on this airbrush is Wargamers Consortium. Chung does a really good review on this airbrush, and he goes through some different setups and things. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm not going to show you it working, you know, there's plenty of stuff out there showing you the airbrush in action. I might post a video up later just showing you guys how it works and the kind of tolerances that it can work to. But just if you're doing for wargaming, certainly, for the painter that needs tabletop standard, it's more than going to achieve that, as well as give you some pretty good tolerances for professional painting. The choices I had was between the gravity fed, the side feed, and the siphon. Siphon, I'm not keen on. I prefer to use the cups. Alright, guys, so I'll leave with that. Like, subscribe, leave a couple of comments. If there's anything I've said there that's not right, you know, just comment and I'll get back to you. If you guys have got any more questions about the airbrush, then I'll be more than willing to help you out. I'm going to put up a link. The worst thing I would say about the airbrush is amazing to use, right? But the worst thing I would say about the airbrush would be the finish. It does kind of tarnish quite easily. It was already, as a matter of fact, it was already tarnished when I bought the product, and I did buy it new. You know, you could probably polish it up with a bad baby oil or something, but hey, who gives a shit about that, to be honest. Alright, guys, like, subscribe, comment, catch yous.